Hey there, friends. I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta, and this is Weather Impact Live here on today, June 4th, 2026. We got plenty to get to. Despite the fact the weather is nice on the first coast, southeast Georgia, northeast Florida, looking fairly good out there, we still have some different type of weather to talk about, not only here, but across the country. And if we're taking a look at the tropics as well, got some interesting weather phenomena going on, including this little tropical wave out there. You see this little guy just towards the west of Florida. I know at first glance you're looking at this going, okay, hold on. What? And really not worried about this developing into anything organized, but it doesn't take away the fact that it's a big clump of convection and thunderstorms and showers moving in around the I-4 corridor and south. But most of this is staying towards our north, or excuse me, towards the south of the first coast staying north of it, that is, and some pretty decent weather over the next few days. But I mean, it's still interesting, and that's the key thing, since that's staying towards the south, all that humidity and the dry air is kind of staying over the first coast. The humidity is staying towards our south, and relatively cooler temperatures here on top of that. We're actually looking at highs into the mid 80s through today, heading into tomorrow over towards Saturday. It does start to warm back up. We continue to get a little more heat in here before some tropical moisture does return by the early to mid part of next week. But for the time being, a little bit dry. Now, that hasn't been the case. In fact, this past week, an entire month of May, by the way, May the 15th, the wettest May on record here in 2026. We had some heavy rainfall. We've already seen a little bit of precip thus far in the starting of June. So it's kind of surprising to a lot of people that we are in a drought. Technically still in an exceptional drought across the Big Bend area, but due to that precipitation, the drought has been continuing to back off here on the first coast. In fact, down to only kind of a moderate to severe. I say only because most of the first coast was in an exceptional level, but it's down quite significantly to moderate to severe, and we're kind of getting out of it a little bit, at least on our coastal areas, and that's why burn bans have been lifted at this time across a good portion of the first coast, despite the fact last month we were having serious wildfires in late April, start of May. Now, I want to explain real quick, though, the difference between the long-term and short-term here as far as rains are concerned. Because the long-term is when we're looking at droughts. And droughts are measured in that because we get lower rivers, lower aquifers, reservoirs are down. For example, where the Suwannee River is, that's where that exceptional drought is. And that still is exceptionally low at this time, despite the rains we have been seeing lately. And it's also a broader impact in the long term when we're talking about farms and crop stress and things like that. Short term, we've had all that rain recently. Topsoil is wet. Plants are starting to get a little bit more greener. So there's less of a risk of wildfires. On top of that, we have an increase in humidity compared to what we were seeing in March and April, where it was bone dry, not only on the ground, but also in the atmosphere. So fires could spread really quickly. So we're kind of getting out of that pattern. So there's definitely a difference between the long-term and short-term, and why some burn bans have been lifted here across the first coast. Despite the fact we're still in a drought, we've had all this rainfall recently across the area, kind of helping out that topsoil, a lot of those plants. Combined with the humidity, it's less of a wildfire risk, but we still need more rain, kind of help all those reservoirs and aquifers here. But we're not the only people getting kind of this drought impacts here, and the drier weather influencing crop loss, or at least crop stress across the Northeast. We've seen that yesterday. We were talking about in Mississippi, the drought combined with recent heavy rains causing issues there, and on this same theme of how this could impact your wallet with crops, especially fruits alike. Let's talk to a reporter out of Ohio and some farmers in that area about how they're being impacted by this unusual weather here in 2026.
From late freezes to drought conditions and bitter winter temperatures, owners of Monroe's orchard say this growing season has been anything but normal.
Our strawberry crop was affected by 2 years worth of weather.
The orchard says strawberry production is sharply reduced, with berries smaller than usual and supplies too limited for you pickup or advanced orders.
Last year we had a ton of rain early spring. early summer, and then kind of switched to a drought at the end of summer and the fall.
Then came repeated cold snaps.
And then this year, we just had such cold weather. January, we had a -14 here, and I think that really impacted a lot of things too.
The orchard spent nights working to protect plants from frost, but some fruit never recovered.
Peaches, they were wiped out completely. So we had, through those freezes, consecutive freezes, we just kept losing more and more buds. Sweet cherries is, I would say, almost a complete loss.
Owners say the damage goes beyond what's missing from store shelves.
It's devastating just to walk out in the orchard and look at what you put, because you have to put the work in even if you lose the crop.
To keep serving customers, the orchard plans to stock produce grown elsewhere while focusing on future harvests.
What is great is that there are other orchards and other farms that didn't get hit as hard as us, and so we'll buy from them and sell in our market, and that we don't make as much money that way, and it keeps the door open, keeps support for our families.
Monroe's Orchard says they'll still be offering products like jams, jellies, and other items in their market, along with the produce sourced from other local farms.
Yeah, that's the same story across a good portion of the Southeast, where we're continuing to see drought here, but on top of that, heavy rains. It's just his impact. It's his ups and downs. It's not consistent. And you see there with those strawberry farmers across the Midwest, very similar issues being had there as well. Now, that's in the broader scope of things. Let's kind of drill down here on the First Coast, and starting off with a live look out there at Jack's Beach, where we have a rip current being the big issue out there today. Steady onshore breeze. Weather is beautiful. You know what also, and we kind of see it on the beach right there, that's kind of an issue. It is sargassum season. So we got rip currents if you're going in the water, and then if you're staying on the beach, there's just seaweed everywhere. It's nasty. It is that season too. So beach, not really the best place to be here on the First Coast today. I'm sorry, but it just is not the most beautiful conditions out there, combined with the rip current, the sargassum. Yeah, the sun's out, but sun's out, by the way. It is dry air. So if you want to go for a run on the beach, I suppose it's good weather for it. We do have that onshore breeze, though, so especially coming in from the northeast, these lower dew points are great. You can kind of go for a nice little jog out there, but that wind, if you're running from south to north, it is going to be coming right at you, 10 to 20, gusting to 30 miles per hour at times. It's not going to be pleasant as far as that is concerned. So, like I said, yeah, it's windy, sargassum's on the beach, and there's a rip current. It's not a great beach weather out here on our Thursday, but at least heading into the weekend, the winds are going to start to back off, so is the rip current risk. Sargassum's still going to be there, but you're not going to have to deal with the rips, the waves, and the onshore wind continuing across that area. Meanwhile, though, we still, like I said, have that rip current risk continuing to dominate our forecast here on the First Coast. Steady onshore breeze. That's going to continue through our Friday here. You can see with that easterly wind continuing to kick in, but it does start to back off as we go ahead through Friday evening into Saturday and over towards Sunday. They're definitely improving conditions. So for our high today here on our Thursday, 83 degrees. Nice cool morning this morning. It was really nice. Got out, went for a nice little walk / run at the park. Gorgeous weather. Sunrise at 6:24, though. The sunset's going to be at 8:26 this evening. Should be a nice sunset, too. And if you're going to head out to the Jumbo Shrimp game, that starts at 7:05. And just like yesterday, weather's still looking fairly beautiful. Also, do note tomorrow for the Jumbo Shrimp, the fireworks are going to be back. If you remember, we were just talking about some of the burn bans being lifted here across the First Coast. If you remember, there was, due to the burn ban in Duval County, the fireworks are suspended for a few weeks here. But now, since the burn ban is lifted due to all the heavy rainfall recently, we are looking at those returning. So good news if you like your fireworks. There's a look at the actual beach forecast. High tide is just coming up in just a few minutes. If you noticed at the beach, there wasn't really much beach, so it was like rip current surf, sargassum, dunes. And that's because high tide is right there at about noontime. And then it starts to go down. So through this evening, we're going to be seeing that a low tide at 5:16 p.m. So that'd be a good time to get out there, kind of avoid some of that seaweed. But look, just offshore, seas are 4 to 8 feet. If we take a look at our futurecast, so as far as any rainfall is concerned, not much to speak of over the course of the next 72 hours. And this is confirmed up with our extended forecast, with that beautiful weather continuing even all the way out through the weekend. Friday's high being 86 degrees with these dry skies. Sun with a little bit of a nice onshore breeze, but not as bad as the last few days. And then we take a look at that rainfall outlook too, really staying limited, but by Monday you start to see down towards the south, we start to see some moisture build its way back in with the chance of some afternoon showers, but more so by Tuesday. So for now, the weekend is looking fairly beautiful out here across the First Coast, and absolutely beautiful weather there. Hot and humid, small chance of rainfall, but you can still get out there and get at it. Do want to go to a break here for just a minute. We're going to pay some of the bills. When we come back, we're going to take a look at that extended forecast as well as the 7-day and maybe get into a look at what's going on across the tropics.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Breaking overnight, police are investigating an officer-involved shooting.
Breaking news, a major crash on I-95.
Routine controlled burn got out of control. First Coast News was the only station there.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. The First Coast News Plus TV app. Streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Had the umbrella in the back seat, the rain jacket ready to go.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
Let's get some breaking news we've been following overnight.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. First Coast News Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
The First Coast News weather team has your most accurate forecast with weather impact alerts to warn you about severe weather. Our team is here to help you prepare and keep you safe.
The First Coast News weather team is always on your side. Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
So reading some of our social media comments here, Casper on here saying really despise the sargassum there. And and one other thing he mentioned was some of the long-range models kind of showing something near the state of Florida. And I'll get to that in just a second, kind of talk about what exactly that means. But right now, though, let's talk about what we got going on here this weekend. And still beautiful weather. Beach and pool day Saturday and Sunday. Hot and humid. Small chances of rainfall possible on Sunday, but it really is staying limited and mainly towards the south. We got a 5K run for hope coming up on Saturday at 8 a.m. That's in San Marco. Beautiful weather. A little higher for the dew points. Not as nice as earlier in the week, but definitely a far cry from where we had a previous week where we had all that moisture and just very tropical, sticky atmosphere across our area. So we're still watching that front kind of dipping towards the south through the rest of the week. Despite that convection offshore, it looks like it's going to kind of stay over in that direction. Then you look ahead into the end of the week and kind of see as that high shifts towards the east, tropical moisture does start to build in from its south. And that's why that rain, that moisture is going to increase heading into the early part of next week. So you can see here on Monday over towards Tuesday, we do have those chances of showers, but also the dew points. It kind of gets back to this very muggy, just sticky setup here in that extended forecast. So taking a look here at Thursday, Friday into Saturday, we have increasing temperatures. with that chance of rainfall, as I mentioned, by Tuesday into Wednesday. Let's talk about this tropical long-range outlook here. And flip over to talking tropics, right? Nothing too serious here in the Atlantic right now, nor in the Eastern Pacific for that matter. But we do have a couple areas we want to talk about. One is, well, look at this guy. This gal, I should say. Tropical storm Amanda, located towards the east of Hawaii, west of Mexico. And, it has winds of 40 miles per hour. Pressure is at 1,006 millibars, moving towards the northwest at about 9 miles per hour. Kind of interesting, though, is that this storm being out there in the middle of the ocean, June 4th. But did you know that on this day in 1973, we had the earliest Cat 5 in the Eastern Pacific on record? Kind of in a very similar area. It was a little bit further towards the east, but it does show, even in the Eastern Pacific, we can get some powerful storm systems this early in the season. This one's not going to get remotely close to that, but maybe the next one could be kind of a more proper hurricane developing out here off the coastline of Mexico. A lot of guidance continuing to show something rather strong spin up there, and that one's going to be a little bit closer to the coast, something a little bit more noteworthy if you do follow along with the tropics out here, just especially off of the west coast of Mexico there. So that's something we're going to watch over the course of the upcoming week to 2 weeks in that long-range development for that area. But for the Atlantic, nothing out there right now. With that said, as some people on social media here just posted in our comments that watch it along, thank you guys so much. There is a new area. Some of the long-range guidance does continue to show it, and this is a run from the GFS, kind of showing you kind of see what this is indicating right here. Now, it was more aggressive in the last run. And then a couple days ago, it was very aggressive. It's kind of been putting up one storm after another. Now, the thing is, the ECMWF kind of shows something right in this area, too. But note this. We're doing this here on the 4th. This is June 14th. That is a proper, 10 days away. So 8 to 10 days out, long-range guidance is highly uncertain. It's hurricane season, so do expect kind of some of these long-range models to occasionally kick out these little phantom storms, as we like to say it. Now, with that said, multiple models over multiple runs does raise some eyebrows out here. But the certainty and the exactness of it is definitely vastly uncertain. So we take a look at where storms typically form in the month of June in the tropics. It is in this area. That is kind of interesting. More specifically, out here in the Gulf, that's where you most likely have storm systems. So yeah, we could have something. Definitely always a chance, but for now, I'm not screaming tropical development. I'm actually more kind of curious on this guy right here. Despite the fact that it is not going to develop into anything, it still is bringing that area of convection offshore, and it just kind of looks interesting. It's tapped into a lot of moisture. I mean, mid 80s actually. They're off the southwest coastline right now, but it is dealing with an abundance of a wind shear there as well. But and also kind of getting confronted with this cold front towards the north. And as Casper just actually jumped on here, he said, it's a rare June cold front, and hope we all enjoy it while it lasts. This cold front that is kind of bringing in that shear and the relatively dry air is going to suppress any chance of tropical development out there in the Gulf. And you kind of see it towards the north. So here's our front back here towards the east, attached to that, extending all the way like that. It's our cold front. So all this dry air just filtering in, and it really is disrupting this. So yeah, we have convection, we have thunderstorms out of that. We do have warm sea surface temperatures, but not expecting it to developing into anything organized by any means. Taking a look at the hurricane season, though, we do want to continue to stress a below average season is in the forecast, according to NOAA and CSU. But mind you, it can be lower and it can be below average all at once. One storm is all it takes. And last year, Melissa was the storm. The year before, Beryl was. And of course, there's other ones out there. But there's always at least one that really caused some pretty serious damage. 2024, Ian and Milton here on the first coast were the big ones. So we got some still weather to talk about with that, but at least for now, not too much in the tropics that worries me. All right, we're going to go to a break real quick, and then when we come back, we'll top this little weather impact live off, answering some of your questions on social medias and taking a look at that 7-day forecast.
That is the Protector.
This truck is a beast.
It's got all the tools on it. I love how big the tires are.
And this is going to be able to show you the weather around the First Coast like you've never seen it before.
The Protector really is going to help protect the community.
So you can see what it looks like on the ground. And that allows folks to really take action and do something about it.
And it gives us that edge in continuing to be the most accurate weather team.
Sponsored by HananiahAutos.com.
I'm Keitha Nelson. Good morning, Jacksonville anchor and mom of twins, Journey and Trey. I'm on your side, getting you out the door and off to a great start. Make the move to Good Morning Jacksonville on First Coast News. Weekdays from 4:30 to 9, anywhere you watch.
First Coast Living Live.
Bringing you closer to the tastiest food.
The best shopping.
And family fun. Woo!
Jordan Wilkerson and David Benfield. First Coast Living Live. Weekdays at 11 a.m. only on NBC 12.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
The First Coast News weather team is here to deliver your most accurate forecast with weather impact alerts to warn you about severe weather and up-to-the-minute information on First Coast News Plus.
The wave of moisture rolls its way on in here.
Our team is the most equipped and experienced to help you prepare and keep you safe.
The First Coast News weather team is always on your side. Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
My mission is to help you get to where you're going safely. Whether it's helping you beat the backup on 95 or navigating the slowdown on JTB, we've got you covered. Make the move to Good Morning Jacksonville on First Coast News. Weekdays live from 4:30 to 9, anywhere you watch.
All right, so let's talk about what we got going on out here in our satellite picture. And, Casper just mentioned here, one of our comments on our social media, that, we could have some energy transfer in the tropics from the East Pac to the Atlantic. And I'll just really quickly explain what that means. So basically all this convection here, eventually this combined with something we call the Madden-Julian oscillation, all of this could kind of get transferred further towards the east, that it goes around the world. And if we get a plenty of convection out here, especially way down towards the south, even out towards the Bay of Campeche, all this convection south of Cuba eventually could spin up and kind of head off towards the north. A lot of coulds, lots of maybes in there, but it is interesting, all this convection here, which very likely is going to spit up a new storm over the next week on the west coast of Mexico. Some of that could head off towards the east. And that's one thing, when we're talking about long-range weather forecast, it is an area we're going to keep an eye on, including what we have more in the near term, which is this area, which I find incredibly interesting, but once again, has a lot of shear kind of coming into it, that front off towards the east. But really, really interesting area convection here, and that's going to bring that increase in showers, especially for South Florida here, staying south of the First Coast, which is why we go back to that 7-day outlook. We do have those showers here across the First Coast, possibly by early next week. But for now, mostly sunny skies continue to dominate here from Thursday, Friday into Saturday. And even over towards the weekend, it's going to be hot and sunny. Right now, biggest issue on the First Coast is that northeasterly wind, continuing to create those rip currents, as well as washing up that sargassum at our area beaches. So, it's nicer weather, but not great beach weather. I think good walk in the park type of weather conditions here on the First Coast. So that's this episode of Weather Impact Live. And of course, really do appreciate everybody who chimed in here. Thank you guys so much for continuing to kind of keep up with this conversation here. Don't forget, at 4:30, we have another episode of Weather Impact Live. We're going to continue to talk about that local forecast and always streaming in at FCN Plus at 5, 6, 7, and 11 throughout the evening as well. So lots going on here. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, discussing, the weather here on the First Coast and what's going on across the country.